This came in the mail for you today.
Thank you.
And I brought it down to Stanton for you. Daddy got it.
Oh my. I'm so pleased to know that you're celebrating your 100th birthday on the 3rd of November 2016. I send my congratulations and best wishes to you on such a special occasion. Elizabeth R. Isn't that lovely?
It is.
That's lovely. It's quite exciting. I was born right down here, very near here, and I lived here all my life. We went to live in Kingston when I was 8, so that I could go to school, because there was no secondary schools in St. Thomas, that's my area, and the government schools were pretty grim, really. So my mother and auntie, my father died when I was a baby, 2.5, and my mother and auntie, we left St. Thomas and went to live in Kingston to send me to school, because they couldn't bear to send me to boarding school. So I was a very, I guess, spoiled, privileged little girl. But they managed to not bring me up as a monster. I was at St. Andrew High School from the second term of the school's opening. So I guess I'm one of the real old girls of St. Andrew. I was the only Jewish girl in St. Andrew High School for many years, and I never ever felt any anti-Semitism. I didn't know what it was. I never knew about anti-Semitism until I went to America as a grown girl. We never had it here. Well, I'll be honest with you, when I lived in Kingston, from I was a little girl, we never mixed just with Jewish families.
No.
We mixed with everybody. And I had no Jewish friends. I had one girl that was a Jewish girl, and all my friends were Christian children. And that never came up at all, never. No. And my mother, who came from Philadelphia, and who had been a product of anti-Semitism, because in those days it was quite strong. And she was always amazed at how wonderful it was here, because we never thought about religion. I mean, everybody was just together. I was always Jewish, and I was always very interested in the Jewish way of life. I was not practicing, I was not good at that, but I was always very interested in Judaism. And I was just happy to get more information. We had no synagogue out here. So the only place of worship was in Kingston. You know what it is to drive to Kingston now. Cars were slower, and when the road was better. But we didn't go to service often. It was a long way. And then my auntie drove, and we did the men coming home. We had nowhere to stay in Kingston, with the men coming home at night, which we didn't do in those days. So it was difficult to practice your religion from out of the country. My grandparents are buried in the Orange Street Cemetery, and my great-grandparents are buried in the Ellison Road Cemetery. My father is buried in America, because he died over there. Aunt Ivy and Mother are buried in Orange Street. It's very stark, and it's not a nice cemetery. It's just graves, graves, graves all over. No trees, no flowers, no. My grandmother and grandfather have two beautiful tombstones there, but it's... My son Ainsley is very keen about having them fixed up and things, but they're not very well cared, not very well. They don't look pretty, think the beauty of anything, of course, is trees. More so than flowers, because the flowers take a lot of care. But a tree just grows, you know. I mean, look at these gorgeous squander trees here. I mean, I don't know how old they are, but they must be hundreds of years. It's a very good idea if we do that, if we start that. You could start that. Plant a tree, like this.
Welcome back to Country White Jamaican video channel, and I really want to thank you again for all the subscribes and the comments, and that you're all watching these videos. It just, boy, it's sweet. So thank you so much. And one of the subscribers asked me this week if we would tell a little story about growing up in Jamaica as a white girl. And when I read that, I thought to myself, you know, to be honest, you know, I never experienced racism in Jamaica all the years I was living there. I say, it didn't even cross my mind. Like when I was little and when my mother car back, I was driving down the hill and a little girl or a little boy yelled out to me, "White girl!" You know, it just come in like a pet name to me. And to be honest, that's how it always was. And when I get big now, and I have my own car, and I get like a flat tire, I'm dip on the side of the road and come out of the car, gone in the trunk, come here, look out, look for it jack. And by the time me open the car back, me just see one or two cars stop, and them offering to help me, and before me know it, two tools them fix up the tire and me go about the business. And just Jamaican people, they're warm, friendly, and full of joke. And the next thing I remember now too is nobody no go by them name and them birth certificate. Nobody at all. Them go by alias all the while. So like I remember some name. So one of them is Fat Man, and him doing fat, you know. And next one Germs, and next one Pressure Foot, and Pinchers and Dog Heart. You name it, they come up with some name. And if you ever hear the story of how the name stick on them, you're dead with laugh. You can't just remember some of those stories, you know. So growing up on a farm, to be honest, it was a lovely, lovely life. Because me and the picnic and the farm workers used to just run all over the property. And we go and we pick guinea, and we pick star apple, and we used to get the headman to help us, and him pick jackfruit, yes. And my mother never liked the jackfruit, because she never liked the smell of the jackfruit at all, and me love a jackfruit. So that was a little problem for us, but I just went round and find a little place, and we sit down and we pick out the jackfruit and we eat it, and boy, it's a nice fruit. So anyway, some of the time we go in the bush, and we used to catch fish in the pond and turtle and all them something. And we were looking on our foot, you know. Sometimes we brush past a bush and grass lice hop off like a grass lice nest, land on your pants, and you just see them moving like an army coming up your leg. And we used to just go back to the house and rip off the pants, and mother used to get out white rum and rub us down. And boy, there was, I mean, when I look back, I have to really laugh, because those were some good times, you know. And I just love Jamaica. I love Jamaican life, and I love Jamaican people. And Jamaican white people are 1% of Jamaica. I may never experience racism. That is the lovely thing about it. Jamaica is really out of many, one people. I love it. So I hope you enjoy the video. Please subscribe and like and comment, and you know, I really enjoy reading the comment them. So one love till the next time.
Now that we're older, we realize I'm the token white friend. It was just, you know, like how Bob Marley said, one love.
Yeah.
Everybody, we're just friends. Everybody's just the same people. It started to take on, like the older you got, it started to take on a little something. Started to notice people call out white boy.
Yeah.
And say, oh, okay. I guess there's a little difference here.
Yeah.
All in all good. I couldn't live anywhere else. I wouldn't want to live anywhere else. Jamaica is home.
Yeah.
You know, our motto is out of many, one people.
Yeah. And you told me earlier that like the color, the white, color is the smallest percentage or ratio.
We'd be the largest minority.
Okay.
The majority of the population is black, probably 98 to 99%. Then the rest is broken down between Chinese, Indian, and white. And I think you could say there's a little more Chinese than Indians. And I'm talking Jamaicans, people who are born here, been here.
Right.
And then, white would be the smallest. This is mostly an opinion.
Yes.
But yeah,
Might not be factual, but pretty
from
close.
what I've seen,
from
growing
what
up
you've
here
seen.
for 28 years.
Yes. As a white man visiting, give me 3 phrases that are popular right now in Jamaica. I'm going to try my best not to embarrass myself. Let me hear what they are first. I'll see if I can try to match it. Just so when I'm out there, they might think I'm a white Jamaican tomorrow.
They ask you what you do for a living. You can tell them you chop a line.
Okay.
And that means you're scamming.
Okay.
Yeah.
But why chop the line? Like on the telephone or something?
Telephone line, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
See this?
So,
See, I grew up around Jamaican people. I'm putting it together like a mathematical equation.
Yeah.
So you chop the line.
yeah, that's unfortunately.
Yes.
It is unfortunate because crime is bad. It affects everyone negatively.
Yes.
But fortunately, I think, to be honest, that really helped our economy
Yeah.
stay stable throughout COVID.
Yeah.
So,
Survival is a
chop a
must.
line or bang the line.
Ben,
Sorry,
your
guys.
voice, no problem. Here, get a drink.
Yeah. Bang, bang,
Bang. Okay.
bang a line.
Bang your line.
So you tell them you're a chopper.
Chopper. In my part of the world, you're a chopper. It means you're stealing cars, you're chopping it up,
Yeah.
and you're selling it. But here, you're chopping the line.
Next is the classic bomber cloth.
Yes, I've heard it.
Yeah.
Tell me with distinction, what is the meaning?
The real meaning is dates back to bomber cloth and blood cloth. About
Yeah.
date back. That's like menstrual cloth.
Yeah.
It's like a blood cloth.
Yeah.
A bomber cloth used for menstrual periods. But it's turned into a word that can be used for everything, any occasion.
Yeah.
Happy, sad, angry. It's like you have a, yo, blood clot, yo, today's sweet.
Yeah.
Or that blood clot idiot go fuck up my day.
Yeah.
You know?
So it could be positive, it could be negative.
It's an all-rounder.
So when's the last time in conversation that you came up and you had the urge to say bomba clot?
I say it probably 100 times a day.
100 times a day. So the meaning must be lost. If you're using it that often, it's got to be a word that's got to be scarce.
It's a passion word. It's a passion word now. You use
So,
it.
give it to me in a sentence. How can you use part of today, our meeting today? How are we going to use it in a positive way?
The food here today was so bomba clock good.
Yes.
I can't even begin to describe it with regular words.
Yes. Okay, now I'm going to put you on the spot. And use the same word in a negative annotation.
Yo, that bomba clock idiot go fucking drop my food on the floor.
Yes. Shit. See, we're learning the A, B's, and C's of Jamaican language.
You know,
Patois.
It's breaking my heart that I'm here with Christmas list.
Yes.
And my voice is
So normally your voice is much deeper?
I don't want to go deeper, but
Yeah.
the voice is there.
Yes.
It's you can tell it's going, it's in and out.
Yeah.
So I can't even speak properly right now.
We're working you.
Yeah.
Give me one more phrase that's
The
popular.
most important phrase is wagwan.
Okay. So I heard this was created in Canada, Toronto, Canada.
Look here. Thing they're called mans them, Canadians, Brits, all of you people out there trying to thief our language. Drake, stop it. Give credit where credit is due. Yes, you can use it. Yes, you can talk it. But don't try to steal our language. Don't try to appropriate our language. Wagwan, bomba clot, blood clot, Batman. All them words are yard words. You're welcome to use our language, but it is our language, and give respect where respect is due.
You told me it's up to like 4 or 5 generations born in Jamaica.
Yeah. So before this year, I worked for my family business.
Yeah.
And our family business in Jamaica is over 80 years old, founded in 1938. So for it to have been founded here, that would have to be here that long.
Yes.
So yeah, we've been here a long, long time. We are Jamaicans, born and raised.
Yeah.
To our blood. Everything we do is for Jamaica, for our people, and obviously for ourselves, you know.
Yeah. And you told me on TikTok when you started out, you were blowing up. I think, you know what, obviously, sometimes when you take yourself out of your own shoes, you don't realize, right? But like for me, I talked about it in an earlier video, when I heard a Chinese man with a deep Jamaican accent, it still blows my mind. I know it's something so silly. It could be any race that has a Jamaican accent, but yet again, I think internationally, it's something that...
stereotype.
Yeah, it's a stereotype that most people don't realize, that there are white people living, and Chinese people living here on the island.
At 16 years old, I moved to America to finish high school.
Okay.
So I graduated high school in Jamaica the day after I turned 16. And then I moved away. Did a year and a half of school before they kicked me out. But some of the questions I got when I went up there were, how did you get here? Do you live in a tree? Do you live in a cave?
Yeah.
Did you take a boat up here? Why are you not black? Where are your dreads?
Yeah.
So yeah, I know there's a big stereotype, but now we have everybody and we're all one people, isn't it?
Yeah. What about at parties? Do you stand out? When somebody sees you at first glance, based on the way you look, do they know that you're Jamaican, or they have to hear your voice first?
I mean, it all depends. I even have Jamaicans hear me speak and they say, oh, you're not Jamaican, nice accent, nice try.
Yeah.
Even right now, sorry guys, my voice is kind of messed up. But when you see me in the dance...
Oh, you're the center of attention.
No, that's my little brother. So if you ever see my brother, if you see me and you see my brother,
Yeah.
you wouldn't think I'm white anymore.
Yeah.
He's blonde hair, blue eyes, really white.
Yes.
But we do make a scene when we go to the dance.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Maybe you'll see it on Monday.
Yeah. It smells good.
So you see the Scotch bonnet on it,
Yes.
and then if the extra Scotch bonnet there.
Nice and hot.
So
And you like hot?
I,
spicy?
I'm working on it.
Okay.
I eat a little bit.
A little bit. What about yourself?
I love.
Yeah, I love it too.
I eat more than the average white man.
Where to start? You're saying this is good. Let's do
That's
this.
squid.
Guys, I want to make a hot sauce. I've always wanted to make one. I really lost more than I gained here, but
This is the best one for me.
I like them all. Anything that comes from the water, I like it.
Thank you.
What did you get?
Garlic.
Garlic.
What is this?
Bami? Festival.
Oh, I don't even know what that is.
Finish with this?
No. We're gonna bathe in this.
Okay.
So this is like rolled up, it's like fried dough.
Okay, inside nothing.
No,
Just dough.
you don't want nothing inside a festival.
Gotcha. But a festival normally has a lot of individuals. Like a festival is, no, not this kind of festival. What is this?
That's bami.
Bami. What is it though? A vegetable or
Cassava.
fruit? Okay, cassava. So I guess I've tried everything just with different names.
Yes.
So, lunch, 5 stars, everything is completely gone. Even my napkin is covered in curry, but very good. Thank you,
No problem.
the boss. How is it living as the minority in Jamaica? Is there a negative aspect to it? And then we'll talk about the positive.
I think the only negative aspect is the same as everywhere, is when you come up against ignorance.
Yes,
And people want to use a difference between two people to target you
yes.
or to create a bigger rift and create hate. I would say, yeah, that would probably be the biggest problem, and you find that everywhere.
Yeah.
But to my situation, yeah, I've experienced that. My family has experienced that. My brother has.
But I
my
mean, like
friends
for
have.
example, if you're going to the gas station, or you're going shopping, or
No,
you're at the
it's
mall.
Not, it's not a daily thing.
It's not a daily
It's not a daily thing. So that's why I say it's when you come up against ignorance.
Yeah.
But you find, as a lot of people say, you find Jamaicans are loving, very warm and friendly.
Yeah. From what I've found.
Yeah, so most of the time you won't have it. It's just,
And I think, you know, a lot of the people I've spoken to so far, if not them, their family has lived in other countries as well. So I think it's opened up their mind to, yeah, there's alternate races and we are all one.
it's our biggest issues here, more like classism and rich and poor.
Let's go into this because you're not the first one to tell me this. Instead of racism, it's classism.
Yeah.
Explain to me what classism means to you.
I mean, it's when people see a divide between what some people have and what some people don't have.
Yes.
So it's looking at the end product. A lot of people don't look at the journey, the risks, what people had to do to get where they are.
Yeah. The generations of hard
yes.
work.
So where I will say sometimes you see racism is a lot of times people try to portray that only white people in Jamaica are rich and only white people have money.
Yes.
Which, just looking at the statistics, is impossible. Majority of the population is black.
Yes.
Majority of the rich people in Jamaica are black.
We're looking at some pretty big boats.
Yes.
Over there,
Yeah.
right. So the evidence is in front of us.
Majority of the wealth is within one population, but it gets skewed because majority of the poverty
Yes.
is also with one part of the population.
Yes.
It's very sad, but you have a lot of great people out there trying to do their best to give back, to build a better Jamaica.
Yes.
You know, it's my personal opinion. A big part of why we are where we are is because of politics. When we had the brain drain in the 70s, we lost our middle class, we lost our skilled laborers, our skilled workers. That put a massive impact on our economy, our country as a growth, development. If you look around the world, you find Jamaicans in massive positions all around the world.
Yes.
These people could have been back in Jamaica building the country. It was just ideology.
Gotcha.
So it was democracy versus communism, socialism versus capitalism.
Yes.
And, you know, anywhere you go in the world, there's good and bad. There's good and bad of communism, there's good and bad of democracy, there's good and bad of capitalism, etc., etc. But the sad reality is what has played out. So when we were moving towards a communist socialist country, our country got fucked.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, excuse my language.
Sorry.
And now we are where we are. But, you know, that doesn't mean it's hopeless. It's up to us who stayed here, who stayed and fought, who are still here living every day. It's up to us to make a better Jamaica, and we'll keep doing it.
What about 10 years from now, 20 years from now? Your children's children's children.
My children
I
are
know
for born, yes sir.
Yeah.
My children are for grow, yes sir.
Yeah.
Jamaica,
Yeah.
not leaving. We've been here over 80 years, we're not leaving.
Yeah.
There's something special about Jamaica and Jamaicans, I think. I mean, like I told, I've been to 40 countries.
Mm-hmm.
I've lived in 2 others. And there's something special here. It is just, I'm
Yeah.
connected. My soul is built here.
Yeah.
So you've shown your followers and you've talked about wearing a few white rum.
Yes.
Hello, we've seen a group of people now. Many people are now claiming to be the real Israelites or the real Jews. Now, the big question remains: who are Israelites? Who are Jewish people? And who are the real people of this group? Now, we've heard so many people talking about this. We've heard people talking about Black Jesus, right? You all know that. We've heard people talking about Black Americans being the real Jews. We've had people talking about some of the Caribbean countries carrying the real Jews, I mean Hebrews, and in that case Israelites, the chosen people of God. Now the big question remains, now this grandma says she is the leader and she remains the only Jew in Jamaica. Now I'm not taking it out of context because I want to remain relevant to whatever I'm talking about. And to be honest, I've seen so many people talking about this topic, and you know, whatever I think of it, that people are talking of it because it's now relevant. It's now, the truth has now come out, and the people have realized, you know what, these black people that we've always been looking down upon are the real Jews, are the real Israelites, and the real Hebrews. Now, Jamaicans have a very long history with the Bible, and if you're going to take your time and read, you're going to realize, and I saw it in an article, they should not even be called Jamaicans, they should be called Jewcomans. Yes, something of the sort, I think. So this really, Jewcans, not even Jamaicans, yeah. So this really speaks a lot, that who are the real people who belong to this group of people? Who are the real Christians? Who are the real Israelites? Being a Christian is different from being a the chosen one, because Christianity is a religion. Christians just belong to a specific religion which is called Christianity. And being a Christian does not mean you are the chosen one. Now, during the time when Jesus was on earth, 2,000 years back, we can all trace that so many people were being aligned with their their ethnicity. By then, we are the Jews, and those who did not believe in whatever the Jews believed in were called Gentiles. We had so many groups of people, but in all that they believed, the Jews, those people from Judah. Do you know Jesus came from the tribe of Judah? So that's why it's called Jesus, the King of Judah. So Jesus came out of Judah. Jesus actually came out of Judah. Now, this has really spoken a lot, and people are saying that Judah, that group of Judah, the lineage of Judah, were dark people. Now, they were olive, in short, and olive, it's only green and dark, so meaning they were dark, of which we nowadays call them black. So who are the real Israelites? Who are the real Hebrews? Now, this can be traced back when Sir Columbus went to the islands of the Caribbean, and he started his own history. He ignored everything that was happening there and started writing his own history. It is time you should not believe whatever Sir Columbus said. He lied in most of his work. That's why so many people, it is now 300 years down the road, and so many people are lied to. So many people are carrying false information, lies, and continue spreading the lies thinking it is the truth. But it is not. Sir Columbus manipulated, and he was standing for white supremacy, and that's whatever has always reigned. Do you ever ask yourself why the whites do not want to hear that black Americans are the chosen generation, and they wanna argue about that? Do you know why? Because they do not want anyone else, anyone from another race, to be superior, to be seen as a real hero. That's why, as a chosen one, that's why they cannot allow that. That's why they had to paint Jesus to be white. That's why they had to change so many things. And the Bible translations had so many errors. They made so many errors, human errors that could have been avoided, but they chose to make them because they wanted to change everything, the narrative that black people are the chosen generation and they rule the world, and they did not want to give us that chance. That's why I'm not surprised to see white people claiming to be Jews or to be Hebrews or to be Judah, from the tribe of Judah or that. But one thing that I know, the truth is coming out, and we are speaking the truth to power. And one of these fine years, maybe I'll be dead, or you will be dead, or we will still be alive. The truth will come out and the whole world will be shocked. It is just some few days we saw the president of Russia, Vladimir Putin, came out and proved to the world that Jesus was indeed black. They claim it's hot air because he has no good intentions with the world and all that he wants to put black nations with white nations at war so that he might sideline with black nations. That's not the case, because they know if we know the truth, they are done. And soon, believe me, soon we are going to know the truth. The truth is going to be out. The truth is going to hurt them so bad, so bad. So we are here. We will stand by the truth. We stand for the truth, and we will always speak the truth to power. I know one thing. However much someone tries to manipulate, talk this or talk that, Jesus was black. Jamaicans are the real Hebrews. Black Americans are the chosen generation. And black Americans are the real Israelites. No one is going to convince me about anything. We've seen their preachers preaching to their congregations that black people are the real chosen generation, but they can't believe it. They are being harassed for saying that, and their churches being closed. We are going to speak the truth to power. The truth will save everyone free, and just in the coming days, everyone is going to know the truth, and we are going to know the truth because we deserve to know it, because the truth will save the world free, and we all want to be free. Who doesn't want to be free? Who doesn't want to hear the truth? We all want to hear the truth. We all want to speak the truth.